Let us start the session as other
Good
people may
morning.
join in other 2 3 minutes.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, good morning. So, winter, I'm sure everybody's enjoying winter. In Bombay, winter, this is the best time in Bombay, and so is in whole of the country. So, great. Today's session is a very, very interesting session, and today's session is the last session in series of Sales to CEO session. I'm sure you have enjoyed all the sessions. Today's session is futuristic and what is in future for us. It is largely focused on that, and obviously we'll talk on and discuss areas which we have been focusing, which is sales, and we have very good eminent people who will be part of the panel today. So first we have Vishal, who had been part of a panel discussion earlier also. So Vishal, as you all know, is currently with Mondelez and has been an entrepreneur earlier, has worked with promoter-led organization, also has worked with Pepsi. So very good blend of MNC organizations and promoter-led organizations, and has been an entrepreneur as well. And Vishal now is with Mondelez, driving digital technology and transition with Mondelez. And Mondelez is one of the companies which is at the forefront. I'm sure he'll be able to give us a lot of insights. Next panelist which we have is Shabbir. So Shabbir uh, has started his career in FMCG, has worked with companies like Wipro, Pepsi, and last he was also with Mondelez. In fact, Vishal and Shabbir has worked together in Mondelez, but recently Shabbir has moved out of Mondelez. Then he immersed himself for a 3 month long training program, sort of a which was at Singapore, when best brains in AI and technology had got together to understand and study what is happening in technology. And he's just very fresh. I think 48 hours ago has landed in Jaipur from Singapore. So I'm sure he'll have a lot of ideas and insights for us uh, uh, share on overall technology and the space, what is happening in this space. Welcome Shabbir and welcome Vishal.
ये राम की वेट रखो.
So it's excellent and it's very nice of both of you to spare time today. So let us get on to our discussion. Now, both of you have fairly good understanding of technology and FMCG. I would like to first understand your take on how technology has evolved in last 20 years in FMCG as a space, and what are your thoughts on this?
So maybe I'll go first, Sandeep. I think uh, technology has evolved quite rapidly uh, in sales, especially in FMCG, from being mere data collection and, let's say, enabling transactions and collecting basic transaction information, to now enabling growth and enabling, let's say, personalization, enabling customization, enabling targeting, enabling productivity and efficiency. So it's seen this journey of basic transaction enablement and automation right down to now being at the cutting edge of growth and efficiency and productivity. It's seen a long journey right from the time of basic DMS, basic Salesforce automation, basic tools, to an age where data is now possibly the most valuable resource in sales, in FMCG, in marketing, in supply chain. So, a lot of evolution. And as salespeople, as FMCG people, we really need to evolve with that, to say that, the old way of doing things is no longer relevant. We need to look at growing from just tools and automation to really seeing data as the currency, and seeing AI and all the data science as the most important tool. So automation is passe. It is now really AI and data science that is really the most important tools today.
Great. Data is gold. I mean, that's how the businesses are looking at, and technology definitely allows us to sift and navigate through data very seamlessly. Good. Shabir, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, sure. So for me, starting 12 years back, I still remember the days when back in Amul, we used to punch orders as heads of certain divisions into the SAP directly itself. From there, all the way coming today, where we are, um, looking at data which is literally customized to us, which speaks to us in ways that we want to mold it in a certain way, and we are able to do it. So I think uh, what Vishal mentioned about the fact that technology has become more and more prominent from my eyes, because it's just been this 12 years where I have every other year I have seen things becoming more and more integrated with technology, to the point that I think in the last 4 5 years I have seen a sense of an acceleration in how we are going about technology, how we are going about data. Because if I were to just divide this last 1 decade, the first half, I'll say, was all about collecting data, trying to get data from places which was otherwise very difficult to get. So, for example, the rural markets where I have worked quite a bit, always considered the black hole where you don't know what's really happening there, to the point that now you have possibilities and feasibilities to get that data to speak to you in ways in which you can really unlock businesses. I mean, the most prominent example for that for me, when it really clicked for me was uh, when we were able to, while I was working in PepsiCo, and we were trying to look at how to improve distribution with the data that we have, and we were able to just feed a system the entire data of all the villages in India, and from that very intuitively and easily kind of create a plan on what are the areas where we should go, what are the areas where we should not go. So we are dealing with very large database, but at the same time uh, putting in technology in place where I think we're able to humanize them to the point that in our area managers, our TSIs, we're able to get a larger bird's eye view of their own geographies and of their own territories, and use that to sort of figure out which are the areas that will unlock greater distribution for them, greater penetration for them. So that jump, I think, is something which the largest sales team is becoming more and more conscious with. So I see also from a grounds perspective, I see a lot of readiness for people to participate in this entire change of getting the right data in, because now I think it's no longer a debate that data is able to provide huge business unlocks, and it is happening at a level of a TSI, it's happening at a level of a SC. So that alignment is something which I find it to be really amazing. What used to be a resistance now has almost become something which cooperation comes quite naturally now because people see the benefits. So a mindset shift is what I see.
100% true. I think there's definitely acceptance. In fact, people want to have people who are looking at data, and it's not about resistance, but from acceptance now it has moved to an advantage. In the sense, people who are wanting to look at data and comfortable with the data and comfortable with technology, for sure will have an edge as we move along. I think I can tell you all from my experience. I mean, data, technology, and AI are things which one cannot move away from, but one needs to embrace, because people who are having good grip on that as to how to use technology are able to think as to what can happen with technology will definitely have an edge and advantage, because as we move along, whether it is FMCG या whether it's consumer durable, कोई भी business हो, कोई भी sector हो, उसमें डेटा का इम्पोर्टेंस बहुत ही अहम रहने वाला है. We cannot ignore data technology at all. So hence, I think for all the professionals, it is important that we embrace data technology and learn it as fast as possible, and use to the best of our advantage, because that is how you will be able to really add value to yourself and customers also as you go along. So, next, moving to the next area, Shabbir and Vishal. I mean, there are different, particularly in FMCG, yeah, even in consumer durable, अलग अलग चैनल्स हैं. जनरल ट्रेड है, मॉडर्न ट्रेड है, ई कॉमर्स है, अभी क्विक कॉमर्स है, फिर इंस्टीट्यूशंस है. तो व्हाट आर योर थॉट्स? रूरल है, आई मीन देयर आर अलग अलग चैनल्स and अलग अलग segmentation which companies have done, and different companies do it different ways depending on the category and the business they are in. So आपके क्या views हैं along different channels, distribution channels? How is data impacting, and which, कौन से चैनल में इसका ज्यादा यूटिलिटी हो सकता है, या आगे चल के टेक्नोलॉजी अलग अलग चैनल्स पे कैसा इम्पैक्ट करेगा?
See, data is maybe useful everywhere, Sandeep. I think it's just the pace of data that is different. Something like quick commerce, you have near instant data, right? Of offtakes, of how your campaigns are working. If you started something, for example, on search in a quick commerce environment or an e-commerce environment, you have near instant data on how your campaign is working. You can do a lot of A/B testing of content, and you get instant feedback. So in a traditional trade environment, obviously you start some new program or scheme or promotion, you are not getting instant feedback on that. So the data is important everywhere. It is the feedback speed that is different, but it is equally important. Now, what we've done, for example, is we have now, even in traditional trade, a panel of stores where we track offtake on our own, both in rural and urban. Earlier, we didn't have that because it's difficult. But we realized that even from traditional trade, we can't wait for AC Nielsen to give us data 45, 60 days later, and for us to make sense of that data. We now have the panel of 2 to 3,000 stores in urban itself, where we get data in 3 to 4 days itself of how our offtake is of a new launch, how a new promotion is doing, or how, let's say, a scheme is performing. So the something that used to take 45, 50 days, the feedback to come to us, we've cut short that time by 5 to 6 weeks. So data is equally important across every channel, whether modern trade, whether traditional trade. You have to find ways to cut down the loop, the feedback loop, the time taken, and you have to find ways to cut that. Now, everyone will find their own way. Each of the sales professionals here will have their own way. Some will pick up the phone and call their sales executive. Some will find formal ways to do it, and some will find informal ways to do it. Data everyone has got. The point is, how fast will you get accurate data or reliable data? That is the variable today. Everyone has data, speed is the variable.
So I'll just add one thing on top of what Vishal just said, drawing from especially the experience in rural. So one of the stumbling blocks in rural was always getting that data at an outlet level. And I think for the larger sales team gathered here, this is something that you will relate to. It's just because you don't have a certain kind of data from the rural segment or from the unorganized segments of the market, it's very easy to see that there are a lot of things you cannot do. So for example, you want to run a campaign on a certain set of outlets. You cannot, because you don't have the data to do that for those particular set of the market. And the moment when you go to the team and you sort of are able to communicate to them, this is, I think, in PepsiCo and Mondelez, this was the experience largely, that if you can convey to the team that this is how business has become simpler and intelligence driven in the urban markets. You take that as an example and you just show them the simple promise that this is something that can be replicated in rural, and the only gap there is data. And then on top of that, you can create incentive for people to provide that data for you. is the simplicity and efficiency which immediately comes. And literally, just once you have that data in place, you are able to unlock so much benefits for that segment of the market which was earlier just absent. Um, I think the speed at which you can do this in that selected set of market, it itself becomes like a role model. And then uh, your team suddenly. So one of the feelings which discussions which I used to have when I used to talk to my team in rural, especially areas where they now had this ability to track sales at a level of an outlet, was this sense of empowerment at a level of a SC, at a level of a TSI, that uh, they have a full grasp and they have a full control over their set of markets. And that's very aspirational, because in sales team there's always a communication going between urban and rural, and somewhere the feeling that I always got was the rural fellow, he will always feel that somewhere while being part of the same organization, he is not really at the cutting edge, or he's not having the same set of advantages. And that is something which data unlocks in a big way, because now you suddenly, with the data in place, you put them in an equal footing. They can have the same set of incentives, they can have the same set of schemes, they can have benefits to all the perks which the organization is offering to the urban areas. I think that's a very interesting, I think, transition which is going on in literally every organization right now.
Good. So while data and is important and critical, and different organizations, अलग-अलग organization अलग-अलग stage पे data या digital transition या AI transition की journey में है. आप लोग corporate, you both have been at corporate offices also. तो आप जब when corporate office level पे जब data आता है, और पहले जो डिसीजन मेकिंग होती थी जैसे ट्रेड मार्केटिंग में है या मर्चेंट मतलब डिस्प्लेज में है या व्हाटएवर ट्रेड स्पेंड्स में या सेल्स डिसीजन मेकिंग रिलेटेड टू द सेल्स फिगर्स या सेल्स नंबर्स, ये डेटा के आने के बाद या टेक्नोलॉजी आने के बाद उसका डिसीजन मेकिंग कैसे हो रहा है? हाउ इज द डिसीजन मेकिंग गेटिंग इम्पैक्टेड ऑन डिफरेंट एस्पेक्ट्स ऑफ सेल्स लीवर्स? सेल्स के जो अलग-अलग लीवर्स है फॉर डिफरेंट कंपनीज, how is that changing? What are your thoughts on that?
जैसे ट्रेड स्पेंड्स में एक बहुत बड़ा डिफरेंस आ गया है. देयर इज समथिंग कॉल्ड ट्रेड स्पेंड्स ऑप्टिमाइजेशन व्हिच एआई इज डूइंग नाउ. Earlier, if I was given one trade spends budget, I would, like, मैं ये decide करता था how much I would spend where, on which schemes, which product. Now an AI tool can do that much better than me. So if I would decide X product, X percentage, अब मुझे वो नहीं करना. The machine does it better than me. There is something called as a trade spend optimization tool, an AI based tool, which has, मैंने उसको सारा डेटा दे दिया है. What has worked in the past, what have I done in the past, which scheme has worked, कौन सी स्कीम अच्छी है, कौन सी स्कीम में ROI अच्छी है, and that has given me the best possible mix of scheme investments for the next quarter. So there are several such tools that are now available for traditional trade, for modern trade. That has made my job easier and also improved the ROI of my trade spends and my schemes. So there are several such what are called recommendation systems and optimizers in the market now.
Okay.
That many companies are using. And these are being used at macro level, which is budget management. Then one of the big things is sales forecasting. इसमें कौन से डिपो में कौन सा प्रोडक्ट अवेलेबल किधर होना चाहिए, दैट इज़ वन बिग प्रॉब्लम. एक CFA में वो स्टॉक पड़ा है जो दूसरे CFA में चाहिए. All of the guys on the call will realize that inter-depot transfers is one big problem and a big cost for everybody. And a lot of the forecasting is done today on Excel by humans. But if that allocation is done by machines, again, that is being done at bit more accuracy by machines, by AI. This is past data. basis. So it is taking into account seasonality, it is taking into account fluctuations, much better than human beings can do. And it is saving a lot of cost, it is saving a lot of out of stock situations. And a lot of the जितने भी अपने सेल्स वाले हैं कॉल में, they will appreciate कि जब out of stock कम होता है, there is significant loss of sale that is avoided. So a lot of tools are being used already. There's plenty of things, a lot of machine learning based tools that are already in place. In fact, if their companies are not already using these tools, there are plenty of free tools also available in the market, which they themselves at their own regions can apply for basic forecasting and basic recommendations. So even if their company is not already using at a head office level, they can discover such tools also.
Thanks, Vishal. Yeah.
From a decision point of view, there is this example which I can share of a product which I am building in collaboration with a technology company. This is meant for FMCGs. So the idea is, the one of the most powerful thing which AI brings into the table is breaking silos. So for example, you have the finance department, you have the trade marketing, you have the operations, you have the marketing team. So far, because of the way systems are built in most of the FMCG companies, we all work in our own data sets, where at max, you have a discussion between different teams on maybe on a monthly basis or something. With AI coming in, and this is what we are trying to unlock through this product that we are building, is you have all these data sets present, and AI can access each of them very seamlessly. Now, if you are a sales leader, if you are, let's say, regional head of North, and you have to take a decision, rather than you reaching out to the trade marketing team to see what is the availability of schemes for that particular region, and talking to the finance that they can supply with you budget, how much is the allocation of the budget there. You can just have one common system where just through a process of question and answers, you are literally talking to data at this point of time in simple English. And each time the output is coming, it is looking into these 4 or 5 different data sets. So that is something which is now possible. There are still some hiccups in getting it absolutely 100% correct, but it's also looking like just a matter of time where this is fully unlocked. But the barrier of language is being broken. Again, I mean, the kind of responses that you want your teams, for example, in terms of the training which you want to give to the team. With AI, you can literally create capability modules which can be delivered in their own language. So you want to convey some decision you have made in the head office, and you want to convey it to the teams across India. It's very easy now for you to say create a set of documents जहाँ पे जो आपके end user होंगे, they will interact it with that document in their own language. So these are some silos which I think is being broken, especially with AI coming in, with technologies like RAG coming in, and I really see a future where the seamless interaction between different departments really unlocks new ways for us to work.
So any technology, Vishal and Shabbir, especially AI, there's a lot of word which is going around. Look, काफी scared भी है कि टेक्नोलॉजी से हमारे जॉब चले जाएंगे, एंड जैसे विशाल ने बोला कि मतलब टेक्नोलॉजी इतना एनेबल कर रही है कि इट कैन एक्चुअली टेक डिसीजंस बेटर देन ह्यूमन बीइंग्स या लीडर्स. कॉर्पोरेट ऑफिस में लीडर्स है या कहीं पे भी जो लोग हैं, टेक्नोलॉजी इंसानों से बेहतर डिसीजंस ले सकती है. तो आई थिंक एक जगह कहीं पे मतलब काफी सारे सेक्टर्स में ये डर भी है कि टेक्नोलॉजी से मेरी लाइफ में क्या फर्क पड़ेगा, क्या मेरा जॉब रहेगा. तो कंसिडरिंग टेक्नोलॉजी, एआई एंड आप दोनों एफएमसीजी के वेटरन्स हो, तो एफएमसीजी के सेल्स या कंज्यूमर ड्यूरेबल या चैनल सेल्स में जो लोग हैं, उनके लिए आपका क्या व्यू है? चैलेंजेस क्या हैं और अपॉर्चुनिटीज क्या है?
I don't think that will happen. Okay. it'll happen at the most unskilled levels. Okay, let me give you certain examples. So anyone who embraces it and knows how to use it will immensely benefit from it, and will actually, if they know how to ride the wave, will will really go ahead. Because it's a bit like this key. When when let's say in the age when the motor cars started coming in, uh, people who learned how to drive cars really went ahead. It's like this: people who will learn how to work with AI. And I'm not saying कि आपको कोडिंग आनी चाहिए या आपको एकदम टेक्नोलॉजी एक्सपर्ट बनना है. That's not required for that. What you need is, as a sales professional or as a business professional, you need to know the applications of AI कि कैसे यूज होता है. So for example, you need to know कि सेल्स फोरकास्टिंग में AI यूज होता कैसे है, या फिर ऑप्टिमाइजेशन में, ट्रेड स्पेंड ऑप्टिमाइजेशन में कैसे यूज होता है, या सजेस्टेड ऑर्डर में सेल्स में क्या क्या एप्लीकेशंस हैं, या बिजनेस में क्या क्या एप्लीकेशंस हैं, वो पता होना चाहिए आपको. पीछे कोडिंग कैसे होती है वो सब नहीं जानना, बेसिक्स जानना है. भाई मशीन लर्निंग होती क्या है, सुपरवाइज्ड अनसुपरवाइज्ड होता कैसे है, बेसिक्स चाहिए आपको. और फिर जब टेक्नोलॉजी वाले आएंगे, अब कोई एक्सेंचर वाला है, IBM वाला है, एक्सेट्रा एक्सेट्रा, 4 लोग आएंगे आपके ऑफिस में, यू नीड टू नो व्हाट दे आर टॉकिंग अबाउट. ठीक है, कि वो बोल रहा है कि भाई हम रिकमेंडेशन सिस्टम बनाएंगे, सुपरवाइज लर्निंग से बनाएंगे. तो जब वो ये ऐसी बात कर रहे हैं, आपको ब्लैंक नहीं होना. ठीक है ना, आपको पता होना चाहिए कि वो क्या बात कर रहे हैं. कि भाई सजेस्टेड ऑर्डर, हाँ मुझे पता है सजेस्टेड ऑर्डर कैसे होता है, मुझे पता है कि मशीन लर्निंग से बनता है. ठीक है, मुझे पता है
विशाल, एक मिनट,
रिकमेंड.
एक मिनट. आई थिंक द बैकग्राउंड साउंड आ रहा है. कैन आई रिक्वेस्ट ऑल द पीपल टू पुट ऑन म्यूट, बिकॉज़ काफी सारा बैकग्राउंड साउंड आ रहा है. या विशाल, प्लीज गो अहेड.
हाँ, सो व्हाट आई वाज सेइंग इज कि जब वो लोग ये सब बातें कर रहे हैं, यू शुड नॉट बी ब्लैंक. यू शुड नो बेसिक्स की क्या होता है, कि सजेस्टेड ऑर्डर बनता ब्रॉडली कैसे है, कौन सा डेटा लगता है, ये सब आपको पता होना चाहिए. पीछे कोडिंग कौन कर रहा है, कैसे कर रहा है, ये सब आपको जरूरत नहीं है जानने की. ठीक है, सो नो योर बेसिक्स, दैट्स द फर्स्ट थिंग. नो इनफ अबाउट इट. ठीक है, दैट इज व्हाट इज रिक्वायर्ड ऑफ यू. इमेज रिकग्निशन क्या होता है आपको पता होना चाहिए. कि भाई फोटो खींचा, ठीक है, एक मर्चेंडाइजिंग एलिमेंट का या विंडो का या व्हाटएवर, आपका सर्टेन मर्चेंडाइजिंग स्टैंडर्ड होगा आपके आउटलेट का. उसके पीछे कोडिंग क्या होती है वो आपको जानने की जरूरत नहीं है, लेकिन बेसिक्स क्या होता है इमेज रिकग्निशन का, उससे मर्चेंडाइजिंग कैसे इम्प्रूव करती है कंपनी, ये ब्रॉडली आपको पता होना चाहिए कि सेल्स में कैसे अप्लाई होगा. लेकिन टेक्निकल नॉलेज आपको नहीं जानना. So how does AI apply? How are good companies doing it? मॉडर्न ट्रेड में कैसे यूज हो रहा है, ये सब कैसे यूज हो रहा है, ये बेसिक्स आपको पता होने चाहिए. दैट्स द फर्स्ट थिंग. द सेकेंड थिंग, विल इट अफेक्ट यू? अगर आप ये सब नहीं जानते हो, येस इट विल अफेक्ट यू, बिकॉज इंक्रीजिंगली you need to be a sales professional who is keeping up with the times. If you come across in your organization as a guy who is not keeping up with the times, then that is a problem. But if you are a person who your directors or whoever see कि हाँ, he is a person who, अगर मैं ये change लाऊंगा तो he is my middle management person जो ये change को execute कर सकता है मार्केट में. अगर मैं कोई नया AI टूल लेके आ रहा हूँ एज द CEO ऑफ द कंपनी, एंड X पर्सन इज रेडी टू इम्प्लीमेंट इट along with me and bring my vision to the ground, you have that advantage. So make sure you are seen as the person in the organization. You may not be the technical expert, but you know how to execute the change in your company. That is the other thing. Okay. Third, as far as jobs are concerned, I don't think it will affect. It will only make people more productive. Now I'll give you an example. All of us handle salesmen. Salesmen के beats होते हैं. All of us know कि 40 calls या 35 calls कोई भी salesman diligently complete नहीं करता है. एवरी सेल्समैन इज मेकिंग अ चॉइस कि लास्ट के 4 या 5 सेल्स कॉल्स वो स्किप करता है। सेल्समैन खुद डिसाइड कर रहा है कि कौन से 4 या 5 कॉल्स में स्किप करूं। वो अपने मन से डिसाइड कर रहा है। नाउ इमेजिन इफ डेटा बेस्ड एआई वो खुद डिसीजन ना लेकर अगर एआई उसको बताता है बेसिस पास्ट हिस्ट्री एंड रीसेंट डेटा कि ये 4 5 दुकानें आप स्किप कर लो एंड दैट इज एक्यूरेट, that will make the salesman much more effective. So think of AI as a co-pilot to the salesman, which makes the salesman more productive and efficient, which makes the salesman more productive for the day. Instead of doing 50% productivity, अगर वो salesman उस दिन 65% 70% productivity करके लाए, दो productive calls ज़्यादा करके लाए या 4 लाइन ज़्यादा बेच के लाए, that is what AI will do. The AI will not take the salesman's job. It will not take anybody's job. It will make the people more productive. So think of it as that way. It is not taking anybody's job. It will make everyone more productive. That is what it will do. Yeah. But it is your duty to understand AI, understand application, and it is your duty to show your senior management कि जब AI का agenda आएगा आपकी कंपनी में, you are the right person to implement it on the ground. That is your duty.
In fact, if I were to share my experience, जो मैंने 3 4 सालों में देखा है, that so many interesting new jobs have been created simply because now technology integration has become a crucial part of our jobs. And is transition में people who understand business very well, because sales business is a very human heavy and very intuition heavy role, which is something that which is the most difficult part. Reason why sales is called the front line, because we are the one who are facing the market. So I think people who are in sales, who are business development, they play such a crucial role, because one of the important things right now is आपको how do you translate ground level realities in such a way that it can be converted into technological solutions. How do you make things which are intuitive, which really go and hit the nail on the head, so to say. That is something that more than anybody who is, let's say, just sitting in the IT office will know. So that sense of partnership that can happen now is something it has become much more pronounced. I think there's huge requirement for people who understand business at a deep level and then able to translate that into technological requirements. So uski in fact I see requirement going up, and even in Mondelez, I mean, the data science team was growing in size largely because we saw so many avenues where you need this union of business and data to come together, and it's only going to get accelerated. I can give you so many examples. So as Sandeep was mentioning, that I was part of this unique fellowship where we had some 150 entrepreneurs from different parts of the world, and it is very obvious now कि ये जो entire process of software building, coding, it is something, it will become common to all of us. In fact, if some of you will be joining the masterclass, I will literally show you how you can build a reasonably decent app or a website within minutes. So coding will become just a natural thing, like the way we use a calculator, the same way you can use coding to build things. That is something which is already a possibility. What remains is, and so many people I saw on that cohort of 150 people, that they were from banking sector, they were from sales sector, and now they were able to learn to use AI, build products for themselves, and get into entrepreneurship. So that's a clear signal of. In fact, I'm myself an example of that. In the last 6 months, I would have built so many products. I'm not really a software engineer, but I mean, just because I was curious enough, I was always tinkering with things. So I can always call myself half a software engineer now because of so many languages that I have learned in the last 6 months, aided by AI. So you can almost think of AI as a personal coach. The most beautiful thing which I find about AI is it can teach you things by making it come down to your level, in the sense that wherever your learning is, maybe you are here at level 2, it will start at level 2 and then slowly take you up to level 3, 4, 5. So your learning journey is much more stronger with AI. And if you are on part of the journey and you're constantly getting upskilled, and I think AI can help you upskill at a 10x or 20x level in terms of rapidity of it. You can learn things very fast. If that upskilling cycle you are part of, it's almost a no-brainer that how would you not have opportunities? How would you not have roles and jobs if you are constantly getting upskilled? So it's almost a no-brainer if you think of it that way. And as Vishal said, that if you are not part of that upskilling cycle right now, अगर आप आपने अपने आप को ऐसा समझा है कि it's too difficult for me, or maybe I'm not a techie. I think what's really happening is technology is just becoming another general knowledge kind of a thing, that is something that you should know. And it's not, the barrier is also broken. I mean, even if, maybe English is a barrier for you, you can just ask any of the popular AIs to explain things to you in Hindi or in Bengali or whatever language you're comfortable in. So language, as I said, is not a barrier. So if you can just, make this mental shift, that technology can really accelerate your journey of becoming upskilled. I think the whole question and debate about whether I'll be relevant, whether there will be jobs or not, it will just fall apart, because there are just too many new jobs coming in, too many new opportunities coming in. Take any FMCG company. In the last 3-4 years, you would see roles like product manager has come in, roles like this in the data science team, so many new roles are coming in. And I think that's not going to stop. I'm sure every FMCG company going forward will have roles, something akin to an AI officer, AI into sales, AI into marketing, AI into finance, and all of those things are going to come. So good time to sort of get part of this transformation and put yourself in a place where you can be the sought after person.
So Shabbir and Vishal, मेरा ये take है, my view and my take, since I interact with not many people, it will definitely, data technology will enhance efficiency. जैसे Vishal was saying, salesman को कौन सी outlet skip करना है पता चलेगा. Now, good number of times in good number of companies, if he's doing 40 calls, productivity is maybe 50%. Now, in those cases, जहाँ पे productivity 50% और technology आ जाएगी, तो number of salesmen शायद कम हो सकते हैं. कंपनी जहाँ पे मतलब प्रोडक्टिविटी 100%, क्लोज टू 100%, वहां पे ये हो सकता है कि किस दुकान में मैं किस कैटेगरी पे फोकस करूं, राइट? तो दुकान में जो उसको मतलब पहले 20 मिनट लगता था, तो शायद वो 15 मिनट में आ सकता है. तो दैट काइंड ऑफ एफिशिएंसी कैन हैपन एट अ सेल्समैन लेवल. डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर लेवल पे मतलब जो उसका जो स्टॉक मैनेजमेंट है, डिलीवरी का जो मैकेनिज्म है, उसमें एफिशिएंसी आ सकता है. सेल्स ऑफिसर लेवल पे अगर डेटा और टेक्नोलॉजी है, तो पहले वो 10 डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर हैंडल कर सकता था, अभी शायद 15-20 डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर हैंडल कर पाए. सिमिलरली एरिया सेल्स मैनेजर लेवल पे शायद वो 5 सेल्स ऑफिसर को हैंडल करता था, हो सकता है 10 सेल्स ऑफिसर या लार्जर टेरिटरी हैंडल करेगा. तो दिस विल डेफिनेटली, माय सेंस इज एनहांस एफिशिएंसीज, एंड कंपनीज ऑब्वियसली मैन पावर को थोड़ा क्लोजली देखेंगे, प्रोडक्टिविटी एफिशिएंसी कैसे बढ़ाए वो देखेंगे. दे विल ऑब्वियसली वांट पीपल हु विल एम्बेरेस द टेक्नोलॉजी को अपना के कौन कितने फास्ट आगे बढ़ सकता है, ये कंपनीज डेफिनेटली देखेंगी. और जैसे विशाल ने कहा कि आपको ये टेक्नोलॉजी समझने के लिए कोडिंग समझने की जरूरत नहीं. आपकी कंपनी में अगर टेक्नोलॉजी का कोई सॉफ्टवेयर यूज नहीं करे, आपको वो वेट करने की जरूरत नहीं है. आज की तारीख में मार्केट में फ्री ऑफ कॉस्ट इतने सारे टेक्नोलॉजी टूल्स हैं. एक ये कहना है कि मतलब मेरी कंपनी में ये नहीं होता, बट अगर आपको मतलब इफ यू हैव टू रिमेन रिलेवेंट, इफ यू हैव टू अहेड ऑफ द कर्व, आप खुद कैसे अपने आप में क्यूरियोसिटी बिल्ड कर सकते हो. और ये टेक्नोलॉजी विल, जैसे शबीर बोल रहा था कि आपकी लोकल लैंग्वेज में एक सेल्समैन का ट्रेनिंग हो सकता है. तो देयर इज नो बैरियर विद टेक्नोलॉजी. अगर आपको लैंग्वेज नहीं आ रहा है, आपको पर्टिकुलर चीज नहीं आ रही है, अगर आपकी क्यूरियोसिटी है और जुनून है सीखने का, तो यू कैन लर्न एनीथिंग. डोंट वेट. माय सजेशन इज वी शुड नॉट वेट फॉर कंपनीज टू इंप्लीमेंट, बट ऑन योर ओन, अपने आप में कैसा वो अप्रोच और एटीट्यूड बिल्ड करे।
I can give you an example, Sandeep. जैसे something that everyone can do on their own. जैसे ट्रेनिंग है, सेल्समैन ट्रेनिंग। एक होता है हेड ऑफिस ड्रिवन सेल्समैन ट्रेनिंग कि भाई सब सेल्समैन को ये 4 मॉड्यूल करना है। और हमने एक काम किया था 2 साल पहले, आई थिंक शबीर विल रिमेम्बर, कि बेसिस केपीआईज कि भाई कौन सा सेल्समैन कौन से केपीआई में लैग कर रहा है। हम हमारे एआई ओनली गिव दैट ट्रेनिंग टू दैट सेल्समैन। तो अगर कोई सेल्समैन प्रोडक्टिविटी में प्रॉब्लम है तो उसको वही ट्रेनिंग मिलती थी। अगर कोई सेल्समैन सिर्फ रेंज सेलिंग में उसका प्रॉब्लम है तो केवल वो रेंज सेलिंग का ही कंटेंट और ट्रेनिंग उसको वही मिलता था। अगर कोई सेल्समैन मर्चेंडाइजिंग में प्रॉब्लम है तो उसको वही मिलता था ट्रेनिंग। सो यू कैन ऑलरेडी डू दैट। इफ़ यू आर अ रीजनल मैनेजर, आपके पास डेटा सामने है तो आपको पता है कि कौन सा सेल्समैन कौन सी चीज़ में वीक है। यू हैव दैट डेटा इन फ्रंट ऑफ यू। सबको सारी ट्रेनिंग क्यों करवानी है? अगर कोई स्पेसिफिक सब्जेक्ट में ही वीक है तो वही ट्रेनिंग दो। नाउ यू कैन हैव एआई डू इट और यू कैन डू इट योरसेल्फ विद द डेटा इन फ्रंट ऑफ यू। एंड बिलीव मी, जब स्पेसिफिक ट्रेनिंग आप देते हो, योर results will be far better. And I can tell you that when training is delivered in targeted fashion, you will actually see 1% uplift in business. I can guarantee you.
तो टेक्नोलॉजीज का दूसरा एडवांटेज ये है कि मतलब एक्सेसिबल टू एवरीबॉडी एनीवेयर। इंटरनेट की वजह से, एंड आई एम श्योर सारे मोस्ट ऑफ द सेल्समैन टुडे आल्सो विल हैव एंड्रॉइड फोन्स। सबके पास एंड्रॉइड फोन है। तो आपने सिखा है वो आपका सेल्समैन तुरंत सीख सकता है। नॉलेज जो एक पहले था ना, बैरियर रहता था, टेक्नोलॉजी की वजह से आपका सेल्समैन भी दुनिया में हार्वर्ड बिजनेस क्लास में क्या हो रहा है वो गांव में या किसी शहर में रह के एक्सेस कर सकता है। दैट इज द ब्यूटी ऑफ टेक्नोलॉजी। तो आप, आई थिंक for all sales people, one of the key things will be to how do you use technology to enhance capability of people across and sensitize as leaders. If you have to evolve, how do you sensitize the entire ecosystem around you, whether distributor है, distributor salesman है, आपका sales officer है, area sales manager है, how do you sensitize them and how do you enable them and build that mindset to embrace technology? Because वो I am saying अगर आप कोई गांव में भी जाओ ना, तो आज की तारीख में टेक्नोलॉजी पे एंड्रॉइड फोन्स हैं, लोग सीख रहे हैं। मैं ये देख रहा हूँ कि इवन इन रूरल एरियाज देयर आर एंटरप्रेन्योर्स हु आर थिंकिंग मच फास्टर देन ग्लोबल एमएनसीज, आई कैन टेल। सो टेक्नोलॉजी ये अलाउ करता है। तो हाउ डू यू रियली एनकरेज द थॉट प्रोसेस ऑफ एम्ब्रेसिंग टेक्नोलॉजी टू एनेबल their function, their job, and also in general their life? I think that is very, very important because technology is not only impacting our jobs, but technology is impacting all 360-degree life of ours. Medical हो, health हो, financial planning हो, any sector, आप कोई भी sector pick कर लो, technology is impacting all aspects of your life. It has become ever pervasive across all the segments of our life. So it is important that how we really embrace all of this technology. With
Sandeep,
that
I'll
again,
just say one thing here which I think is very crucial for us to understand, that अब तक जो भी टेक्नोलॉजी आई थी ना, it always came with a manual that you have to learn that technology by going through this process कि इसको आपको सीखना पड़ेगा. I think AI is the first technology ever where there is no manual. I mean, you can just go start interacting with AI. आपने जो भी समझना है, पूछना है, you can literally ask. You can either put it as a text. Now voice is coming in. In fact, today I'll give you a demo of an AI which can literally see you. It can and learn your body language and expression wherever you are feeling not confident or you are hesitating. It will know and it will guide you from there. So I think all of us today literally have a free personal coach, and I'm saying free because Google last week made this video technology free. It can literally see you, it can share your screen, and it can see what's happening in your screen. It can guide you there. So all of us have a personal coach now, which is completely customized to our level of knowledge, our language, and then we can utilize that to learn whatever we want. I think this is probably the first such technology which has come to society. इसके पहले there was always a learning curve involved, and I believe today there is literally no learning curve. It's just about intent that if are you spending enough time with it. If you are, it can help you learn what data science is, what machine learning is, what coding is all about, or it can also help you understand what an ROI is, how do you enhance your distribution, how can you create a great beat, because AI is built on the entire wisdom of the world, which is also for FMCG, whatever was there on the internet with regards to FMCG, and there's enough and more wisdom and information and knowledge out there. It has been built on top of that. It's just a matter of now you going there, interacting with it, and upskilling yourself.
Thanks, Shabbir. So now I think we have around 14-15 minutes. I would open it for questions for people. I think because this is an interesting topic and I'm sure people will have questions. So we have another 15 minutes for Q&A session. So I would encourage people to ask questions. Praveen, you have any questions?
What are the immediate applications that an FMCG person who's in a senior position can learn actually right now?
In sales, you're asking?
Yes, Vishal.
See, there are many things. For example, there's something called suggested order. I don't know if you guys are already doing something like this. This is an immediate application. It falls under what is called as recommendation systems, where you can improve the quality of selling of your salesman in the market. Then there are things like what I told you about trade schemes, trade spend optimizers. There is something called image recognition, which improves your merchandising in the market and execution quality in the market. So these are 2-3 very immediate things that can, in our case, really improved. Had immediate and solid impact on the growth numbers for us. So these are pretty much low hanging fruit, but it does take time.
So आपने एक ऑफटेक AI ऐप बोला था, वो क्या कौन सा नाम है?
It's not AI, but offtake is something that we ask our salesmen to collect stock data from a panel of stores every week.
Okay.
But Vishal, मुझे एक बताओ आज की sorry.
Can I go ahead?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah. So Vishal, you mentioned about using AI tool in forecasting. So any specific which is available right now, where I can input the data, because as trade marketing manager, it is important for me to get the forecast accuracy right. So
see, straight away within Excel itself, there are forecasting tools. There are forecasting macros that if you search, there are some free tools. I'm not exactly on top of it right now, but if you Google forecasting tools itself, time series tools मिल जाएंगे तुमको, Excel के ही plugins, free plugins you will get. So that itself you can use. Apart from that, there are obviously paid tools, but start with some of these Excel plugins itself and macros you will find on the net.
So
Time series tools.
I can share a few on that. In fact, the team was given a case study, and I had ensured that the case study is utilizing some of these, commonly available tools. So for forecasting at fun, there is this tool called Julius.ai, which is essentially an AI data scientist, and you can ask 10 questions to it for free every day. There's a paid version, but you can also have a free version of it. It can help you do time series analysis, sentiment analysis. In fact, one of the most beautiful use case of this tool, and there are many others like this, I'm just giving one example to you, where you can throw a set of data at it, and it can look at this data from multiple lenses, and it can tell you, okay, with this data set, they are the 10 analysis I can do for you. And then you can choose which one you want to go for. So that is something that you can immediately use. Apart from that, I had also suggested, and I think it's very important that we utilize this whole area of AI-based web search, which is the next layer of how we use Google to acquire information. So I had suggested a tool called Perplexity for you. Now ChatGPT has also that feature available now, where you can just enable internet search using AI. So what it does is, whatever question that you ask it will scout the entire internet and provide you output with citations, with source, so you can verify. Because one of the issue with AI was that it can sometimes give you data which is not accurate, because it is generating content, not copying pasting. It is generating things afresh. So sometimes it used to hallucinate. It used to give you wrong information. Now with this AI search feature, because source is very quickly available, so I think market research can be here. You want to get fresh data on competition quickly, you can get it very fast now. I think very useful for a FMCG person.
There is one tool called KNIME, KNIME, which is something you can install on
KNIME. Okay.
KNIME, which again, you'll have to learn it a little bit, but it's fairly easy. In fact, that's something that I had learned myself, which again has a lot of these where you can input Excel data and you can input a lot. It'll actually forecast ahead for you. थोड़ा सा सीखना पड़ेगा, but it's a pretty robust tool. It has many data models that then you can use, not just for forecasting. Then for it can do a lot of other work based on that. Yeah. So you can, but you'll have to install it. I don't know तुम्हारे company laptop में वो allowed है या नहीं. वो permission लेना पड़ेगा तुमको from your IT guys. I had to take permission for my company laptop. But it's a
Right,
nice data science. A lot of machine learning models are there on.
Sure, it will be great. Thanks a lot.
Good. So we have time for one or two more questions.
Yeah. So I have a question.
Sorry, Abhishek, is it okay?
Yeah,
if I
please
go
go
ahead?
ahead. Yeah.
Thanks. I have a question on on basically any model, especially the recommendation models, work on the pre-existing data, right? And that is majorly at a store, SKU, bill level sort of information, which is getting fed in. Now, and I have been involved in the implementation of a recommendation engine in couple of organizations so far, in both my previous organization as well as my current one. And one of the challenges that I faced was the veracity of the inputs going in, because at the end the inputs, the store level sales that is get that the data that is an input, is heavily influenced by a person on the ground. And again, that person was getting influenced by multiple things, ranging from availability of the SKU to the incentives which were running, to the promos and everything. All of that was that factored in the final store level data that came. Now when we put that in the recommendation engine, how do we clear off the extraneous factors which might have involved in ultimately pushing a wrong store to the product, and then it becomes a vicious cycle. The same thing gets recommended again and again, and ultimately you are faced with the problem of returns, or people saying that the engine is not working. So how do you kind of tackle that?
See, there's two things here, right? One is data cleaning and preparation itself as a step, right? Before putting into the engine itself, you will have to do this essential step of cleaning the data always, of removing outliers and what are very obvious errors in the data. And that is where the human and machine intelligence come together. You cannot just purely rely on either. So that's the step. When you build the model itself, you have to do that, right? The other is, you just don't build the model and leave it. There is always model drift that happens. So the model has to keep learning and keep learning from actual behavior. So you build the model, you give out recommendations, and then those recommendations hit the real world, and there are certain what is called as a confusion matrix, right? False positives, false negatives, etc., etc. You keep, it's a feedback loop that keeps going into the model. The model corrects for itself. It's a live model, right? So you keep feeding it back. The model keeps learning, and that's what model maintenance is about, right? That's what your ML ops have to keep doing. So even if your recommendations go out and some of them are not correct, the model maintenance is what will correct for itself. So no model will get it right the first time. You have to have continuous maintenance of the model. That's what it is. You can't build it and leave it and forget about it. That's not the way this works.
If I can cite a good practice, I think which we adopted in Mondelez was we had appointed a set of a task force, you can say, a set of people who ASMs who were on the ground and who were helping us rectify this data, so that we had the human layer to it for the correction mechanism, and that is what we used to send to the data science team. That if a model is recommending something, it's not just me, I'm looking at it, but also people spread across geographies, maybe a select group of people, but their wisdom also coming into the data set, that becomes very powerful force.
Got it. Thanks.
Yeah. So I have a question. Since in FMCG, the last leg is very much important, like our salesman. So is there any tool by which we can, evaluate the interview of the salesman, whether he'll be a good choice for us or not, basis his maybe video interview?
Yes, again, there are many tools in the market already which do that. You can build your own. For example, there are tools, and Sandeep will tell you this. There are CV tools that go through thousands of CVs, AI tools, and shortlist them before a human sees those CVs. Similarly, there are AI tools that can look at profiles of salesmen, interaction of salesmen, and do this kind of filtering. There's plenty of things. There are all sorts of things, but you need data. You need past data saying, if you have, for example, data of the characteristics of successful and unsuccessful salesmen. Let's say you have 25 or 30 variables, behavior variables, characteristic variables of successful and unsuccessful salesmen of the past, and you feed it into your machine learning. It is doable. Everything is doable in a machine learning supervised learning system. So it is quite possible. What you need to see, you need not worry about what the AI system can do. You need to worry about what data you can collect and what data you have. Data is really the question mark. The model is never the question mark, really. So everything is actually doable. It's your imagination and data that is the limitation.
You pretty much have tools right now which will enable you to build something like this, maybe a CV screener within a day. And in fact, if you do this, just remind me when we are doing that. I can show you. I have built such tools in the last few months. But it's just that how clear are you with the expectations? What do you really want to test? And when it comes to the video interview thing we talked about, this was not possible at least a month back. But with the latest launches that has happened, now you have tools publicly available which can be used to study the body language, give a feedback on that, do a real-time testing from a video feed. I mean, you can literally record the video, have it recorded and get it analyzed by AI now. It used to be very expensive earlier, now it has become super cheap in the last 2 months. So yes, pretty much technology is there, it's just about integrating it.
I'll give you one example, and again, Shabbir will remember this. We had built something already in Mondelez to predict कि distributor कब छोड़ के जाने वाला है. 6 महीने पहले बता सकता है वो AI. उसके behavior से, उसके performance से, उसके KPIs से एटलीस्ट 6 महीने तो नहीं, 3 से 4 महीने पहले समझ आ जाता था कि ये डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर जाने वाला है, एंड यू कैन बी प्रिपेयर्ड फॉर इट, एंड इट्स ऑलमोस्ट 85-90% एक्यूरेट. तो इंस्टेड ऑफ बीइंग सरप्राइज कि यार ये डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर छोड़ रहा है, हमें 3 महीने 4 महीने पहले से ही पता होता था, एंड आवर गाइज यूज्ड टू बी प्रिपेयर्ड एंड ऑल्टरनेट रेडी होते थे हमारे पास में. तो इट इज़ अप टू योर इमेजिनेशन कि क्या क्या रेडी आप कर सकते हो और क्या डेटा है आपके पास.
Great.
Yeah.
I think we are running out of time, so we'll have to stop here. If you have questions, my request is you mail us the questions, and Shabbir and Vishal will be happy to share their inputs and answers on those questions. Exciting times, AI technology, excellent insights from Vishal and Shabbir.